Hey, good morning, love leaders. Welcome to Love Leaders Unite. Welcome on the inside. Let's take a look here at everyone. Can you guys hear us and see us? Attendees, there's a bunch of people here joining. What's up? Let's see if we can make sure. Zoom in our chat. Can you guys all hear us and see us? Type something in the comments. Let us know that all this amazing technology is working. Welcome to Love Leaders Unite. I am your host, Vanessa Simpkins, CEO and founder of Take Your Power Back Now on the 10K in 30-day program.com. Joining me today on Love Leaders Unite is this amazing man, Derek Hart from understandeachother.com. To call this man a relationship expert would be an insult. You're in for a treat today. We are going to be covering relationship mastery. We want to talk about vulnerability. Personally, I've been working with Derek and my husband over the last year, and the miraculousness of what transpires, the healing that happens when we allow vulnerability to have its way, and how to get there and how to do that, and how that transforms subconscious patterns and programs. We want to talk about how we validate and invalidate feelings every single interaction that we have, what to do when connecting with someone's painful and hard. If you've been thinking about a divorce, is it time to call it quits? How are we navigating relationships in COVID-19 when everyone's forced and on pause and, forced kind of together to really be in the discomfort for a lot of people of intimate relationships? How this relates to business, your relationship with yourself, with your clients. It goes beyond intimate partnerships. How to begin repairing a broken relationship with just about anyone. So welcome, Derek Hart.
Thank you.
To this amazing conversation.
Nice to be here.
Welcome to all of you. We have pages of questions from you guys, so we really appreciate each and every one of you who take the time. Hopefully we're going to get to some of these today. And let's just begin. I mean, I know how awesome you are.
Oh.
We have conversations here in this kitchen at like 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yep.
2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I keep thinking to myself, he's going to get like annoyed that I'm pulling on his attention and energy with my, fears. What about this? What about that? Never, not once.
Really?
Never, not once have I felt him be like, okay, Vanessa, like boundary, like it's enough now. Never, not once. And so we had this conversation. I was like, how in the hell have you become such a love leader?
Yeah.
And we had this conversation. He said, Vanessa, you become such a light of love that it attracts so much to you that you have to have fierce boundaries. So I'd love for you to share with our viewers here today how you got and are in that state.
Yeah, it's fascinating because you just took me into that state. I wasn't expecting that. So right now in this moment, I have the thing going on with me that Vanessa just described. And 20 years ago, let's say, when I started this journey, if Vanessa would have said something deep and real about me and been kind to me, I would have felt some tingly feelings maybe, and they would have come up and I would have tried to stop them. So right now in this moment, what's going on is quite fascinating. Like I could have tears come down right now actually by how sweet your introduction was to me. So kind of one of the things I've been saying lately to people is I simply allow my heart to break. It's like a skill that I almost that I basically worked at for a long time. So right now in this moment, I'm feeling very tender and the feelings are in me and I'm allowing them. I'm allowing them to come through and I'm sharing them. And it was such a heartfelt introduction. And I'm essentially not pushing down anything I feel and I let them come out. So essentially I let my heart break and moments later it comes back together again. And that's why I don't get burned out in giving and giving and giving and giving at 3 a.m.
At 2 in the afternoon,
2 in the afternoon.
At 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And tell the viewers a little bit about your journey. I mean, you spent 20 years speaking around the country. Mm-hmm. You've done relationship counseling work. Mm-hmm. You've done mediation work. Mm-hmm. I mean, masculine, feminine energy balance. I mean, there's like every day I'm like, what else is in there that I don't know about?
Yeah. It actually started 29 years ago. And I was a really young adult. And essentially what I realized is I want to learn to relate to people. I want to learn, I mean, at that point it was, you know, I really want to learn how to relate with women. But it turns out I really wanted to be able to relate with anybody. So I went to group therapy, I did meditation, I did like a Buddhism school, and I learned everything I could. I read 200 books. In 1990, there were 200 books on self-help, and now there's 250,000. So back then it was possible to say, you know, you could kind of read everything. So I went down this journey and I started helping people. And the main place I started helping people was in 12-step programs. And I didn't really have an alcoholic problem or a drug problem. So I went to CODA. It was Codependence Anonymous, where I learned about codependency. And that was just thousands and thousands of people who wanted to learn about relationships. So I sat after those meetings every night, almost 7 days a week for a couple of years, in Denny's, you know, 24 hours, talking to people from, you know, 9 p.m. until 1 in the morning. And it turns out I just loved it. I loved helping them. I loved talking through relationship things. And I think at this point, I've almost been asked every possible question. We'll see today, though, won't we?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many stories. I wanted Derek to give you like an overview of his expertise, because it is like a surprise to me every day in a wonderful way. And I think one of the stories that you shared with me recently, and then we're going to jump into some of this content,
Sure,
is an experience that you shared. I was sitting over here and you said, you know, you had gone through with this couple who was going to get divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And you were there in the mediation with the lawyer, the high-powered lawyer, the whole nine.
Yeah.
And they were there at the final stages going to sign the papers.
Yeah.
And they couldn't.
They couldn't.
And then what happened?
They got their vows renewed, actually. So, you know, this was a process. I have a partner that's an attorney, and she's an attorney mediator, and I'm the mediator counselor. And when we spend 6 to 12 hours working with a couple on their divorce, but they have committed to wanting to listen to each other and hear each other and actually validate what they're both going through, something different can happen. And by the end, they realized, wow, we're compatible in all these ways. And we now understand each other. And we've got, you know, a couple decades behind us in a marriage. And they didn't sign it. It was literally the final paperwork, and they didn't sign it. And it's like we never heard from them again. And I found out later they went off, renewed their vows, and they fell in love again, because a great number of couples simply are having a communication problem. They're compatible in every other way, and it's the communication that doesn't work.
And nobody teaches you this shit in school.
Yeah, it's not taught. It's not taught anywhere.
Nobody talks about vulnerability. Nobody talks about real communication, real listening, real understanding. Yeah. One of the things that you've shared with me that has been profound, I'm going to share a couple of them.
Uh-huh.
And this is going to jump right into the content.
Okay.
Is that emotional feelings, emotional facts are 100% true 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether the other person thinks you should feel that way or not. We either validate somebody's feelings or invalidate them in every single interaction. I've seen this play out in personal relationships and business. Yeah. It is a completely different realm of emotional intelligence, which is the purpose, the intention about this interview today, is to really share this important information in transformation to help more couples, more families, more love leaders heal. It's profound, the opportunities that can come from this place of possibility. And vulnerability really is the gateway. For a lot of people, I know it's very unsafe. Raise my hand.
Yeah.
All right. How unsafe was it for you as a kid to be vulnerable? So these are real freaking skills to absolutely transform your life on a grand scale. Whether you're married, whether you are single, whether you're a mother, whether you're a father, whether you're in business, your relationships make your life. And if your relationship isn't working, we have a lot of conversation about this, There ain't nothing working in your life. Because we spend, and this is me regurgitating what he's saying. I'm not even gonna take credit for that. I'm gonna try. They're gross. We spend so much of our attention on the relationship in our brain, which chews up all of our creative capacity. So when there's disharmony in a relationship and we're in our brain going, you know, this kind of, there ain't nothing happening. You can't move forward in your business. You can't move forward to, you know what I'm talking about. And as my husband and I have worked through our own, and listen, we're still working through our own stuff. I'm going to say this to everybody every single time I get on one of these calls. I'm not your guru. I'm human. I struggle. I fail every day. Yeah. But I also, you know, I show up and want to get better. And hopefully with my own vulnerable sharing of how I screw up all the time, telling myself, it inspires you, you know, to do the same. What I realized in coming, you know, finding more alignment with my husband with these skills is, holy shit, do we get productive, man. Wow. And how unproductive we are when we are in disharmony and in conflict and at war with each other. So how do we validate and invalidate feelings in every single interaction and relationship?
The very first thing that you are usually telling me as a friend is what's bothering you. Just assume it starts there. You want to talk about something and you want to tell me and you want my help perhaps, and I'm doing the male thing of typically wanting to fix it, but I gotta start a little earlier in every conversation with people. What people are wanting from you is listening. What people are wanting is to be validated that what they're going through is difficult. And what we do is we hear the details of what they're telling us, and then we start trying to solve it. We start giving them opinions. We give them worldly opinions about what the world thinks, or these people or those people, and all they care about is what they're going through, and they want to know that I care. And that's a round trip communication that you can get really fast and good at quickly.
So the point of every interaction, relationship, is to listen and show that you care. Yeah. Not fix. Right. Because women can do the same thing. Yeah. We can listen to a man talk and say, oh, you should do that. I told you to do this before. Yeah. I told you. You didn't listen to me. Yep. Or we can say, wow, honey, I'm so sorry you are struggling right now. That must really suck. Yeah, you're dealing with a lot right now. Wow. Yeah. Right? He feels, the other person feels, and this happens in business too. You know, in our Facebook groups, you know, we often have women who are like, oh my God, I'm so freaked out to make a video. I'm so fucking scared. Or holy shit, this Facebook ad's not working. You know? And right away, somebody on the team could jump in and say, how much have you spent on your ad? You know, how many clicks, how many, instead of, oh, that is scary. Oh,
remember what I did when we were on the group thing?
That sucks. You must be really afraid right now. And then the information.
Yeah, I told the woman on the group share, I said, okay, I want you to just put your hands right here and just close your eyes. Now open your eyes and say, oh, I'm really, really, really scared. And then she was crying. And then like 20 of us just waited for a minute or two while she cried it through. And that was the only problem. She couldn't then get productive for the rest of her week because that was energy and feelings inside her that she couldn't release. So she released it, and that took a minute.
And there's something I learned about emotions. I've been on this journey now for 20-something years, studied with an acupuncturist, acupressurist, did you know, massage, and looked at like how do emotions. I was really obsessed, like impact the physical body. Press this button, this emotion comes out, press that. It's fascinating. How does it affect the law of attraction? You know, how do we release these emotions? But all emotions want to leave. Yeah. Okay. And the lower, we talk a lot about this in the Love Leaders Unite, you know, the lower emotions, the vibration of shame, anger, hatred, you know, there's no good or bad. But what we want to do is like release them. So when we speak our truth with love, not with a sharp sword, trust me, I'm very good at that. Protective mechanism doesn't serve me. But also that's like a misguided form of self-love, which is really interesting. Like, but that doesn't work. So when you speak your truth with love, you rid the lower emotions and become a greater capacity for love to express itself. Love's a very high vibration, right? If you go on the scale of emotional vibration, love's at 500.
Mm-hmm.
So what Derek's saying is that your partner, your person that you're interacting with can't actually go beyond that emotion until it is expressed. Mm-hmm. And an easy, fast, shortcut way to do that is in relationship and validating each other's feelings.
Well, that's what the books on the market, all the self-help books, barely any of them teach this. What do we learn? We learn how to set boundaries and work with our emotions and energy work and validate ourselves and go get a massage and go to your therapist. But if something's bothering you and you're going through something, I, as the person you're opening up to, have so much power, it's almost unfair how deeply we affect each other. And just one statement from me or one switch of eye contact or one breathing moment showing you I care is more powerful than all of those things combined.
So women often set boundaries and standards. I'm not going to do this. I need this. And that doesn't mean anything until you're able to show the other person that you care about their feelings.
If you're setting a boundary, that's often great if you're getting pushed around. But if you set a boundary and you don't have space in you that's curious about how it's affecting me, nothing's actually happening in our relating except more resentment. That's a fascinating one, even to me. So that's forever going to be fascinating to me. How you affect me and how I affect you, every next sentence has to be what I call slowed down. I say the phrase slowed down constantly with couples. And it's because something's happening that's important that nobody wants to slow down and see. And it's right there.
Let's repeat that.
Slow down.
So let's slow this down and go back and repeat that because it's really important. When relating, if I set a boundary, but I am not curious enough to see how it makes you feel, nothing has changed in the relationship and more resentment will build.
Yeah. Because you just set a boundary of needing to not talk about this right now. And I have an abandonment issue, and that issue makes me feel like we're never going to solve it. And if you would have set the boundary and said, I know that's a really hard thing for you and scares you, Derek, and how about we talk in 1 hour? I would go, okay. And then I can breathe. Because
you felt heard.
Yeah.
And it's not a no. It's not an abandonment. It's I want to hear it, but I can't right now.
Yes.
I'm a boundary. So we're all reflections. This is another really trippy thing that, it's a really trippy thing. We are all one, reflecting into each other because we are all God, source, spirit that is everything and can't know itself without a reflection.
Yeah, let's take it one step deeper. You did that for me and said, okay, we can talk in an hour, and I calm down. Then if we want to be just miraculous, then I'll say, I know it's really hard for you to set boundaries and that's new for you. Oh my God, you're doing so great. That's so powerful. Those two things that we just gave each other, we actually might not need to talk in an hour. That actually is the solution. Yeah, it's mind blowing.
I know it's really mind blowing. Working with this man is mind fucking blowing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about, instead of waiting till the end of this, we're going to talk right now. We're going to keep digging in here to more of these tips and tricks and the content. I'm watching the questions here. We got a lot of questions here too that I'd love to get into. But Derek, I know you've been running a women's group. I've been a part of it for the last year. You've got, I don't know, 600-700 women in there.
Almost 800.
And you have an offer for people that really want, for women that really want to work on their relationships, whether they're single, whether they're married, whether they're dating. That's been a trip too, to watch, even in this house with a friend of ours, finding her balance and watching that all happen. So whether you are a single, married, divorced, want to be single, want to be divorced woman, want to work on yourself and never have another relationship as long as you live, want to find true love, want to believe you can repair your marriage, you will learn so much from this man. And please tell us about the offer that you have for our viewers.
Well, the place to start with me is very simple. It's understandeachother.com. Be sure not to go to understanding each other. It's not that, it's understandeachother.com. And there's right now just one button on it. And I set that up specifically for our group call today. Essentially, I have a group that normally it's a fairly large cost for the year. And we actually have a 90% cost reduction on it right now for this group coming in. So what the group is, it's about 6 courses, and it's 29 years of me compiling all of my ideas on relationships and turning it into what I believe are the most important PDFs, audio files, and videos with the people I've worked with. And the training in there, essentially, if I could really simplify it, brings it back to understanding how much your happiness is related to your ability to end defensiveness in conversations with any other person. And the training in there, even though one of the courses is called self-love, you'll find it still brings you to the same awareness of how to do that with others. I'm constantly saying the way to your own happiness and the way to your own peace, the very fastest way to get there is how you relate with another person for 30 seconds.
So understandeachother.com is the website. I have put it here inside the chat.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you folks, I found that website. And if I would have purchased that program before my husband and I had our separation last year, we wouldn't have had it.
Yeah.
Okay. My own ego, my own defensiveness, and just waiting too long. But thank God that I did find, and so there's how many courses in there? Because I got the relationship mastery one.
Yeah, I think I think all 7 are in there now. Plus you go into the Facebook group, and I'll tell you the interesting thing about the Facebook group. Not only is it the most compassionate, loving group of women, I mean, there's just not a hint of sarcasm in this group. It's taken on a life of its own. It's a safe
space, man.
It's a safe space. And what you get to do in that group is there's this one post where you can post any question you have about relating, and I will answer it, and then the other women will chime in and answer it also. And that's a phenomenal part of the group.
Sorry, you guys, I put it as all panelists instead of to everybody in attendees.
Yeah.
And I want you guys to know that this is a $5,000 offer that Derek's put on special for you guys for $500. And we're going to keep that open for the next 48 hours.
And the coupon. So when you get there, if you want to pay $5,000, not a problem. But if you want to click apply coupon, write in take your power back now. So just take your power back now, lowercase, all one word, and you'll see the 5,000 switch to $497, and it's a one-time payment, and then you're in the group for a year, and you get all the courses. And I don't have some fancy stuff about a money-back guarantee on there yet. But if you email me at any point in time and you tell me what you're not happy about, no problem. I'll refund your money.
No, it's a really generous offer. $500, you get a whole year of support in your private Facebook group and 7 life-changing courses instead of investing $5,000. Listen, I think when you're going to look at getting a divorce, and I know for myself, let me just write this down. Take your power back now is the coupon.
Oh, no spaces.
No spaces?
No,
okay.
No spaces.
Does it matter if there's like...
And I think it might work with upper and lowercase, but probably all lowercase is your best bet. That'll work.
All right.
Yeah. And you can email me from the website if it doesn't work, but it should work.
Yeah. Take your power back now is the coupon code. And the website is understandeachother.com. So, I mean, when you're thinking about getting a divorce, you want to think about, because we've gone through that rabbit hamster wheel, you know, and the separating and the lawyers and the costs, and not just the financial costs, but the emotional costs. You know, moving a house, getting a divorce, somebody dying. These are huge life transitions. And a lot of them, you know, a divorce especially, completely unnecessary when you have these skills and these tools. It'll blow your freaking mind. And if you're somebody who, like me, you know, I escaped a really bad relationship with a narcissist that nearly killed me. I wrote a best-selling book about that to launch this women's empowerment movement, Take Your Power Back Now. Ending the cycle and the repetition here of, you know, the same emotional unavailable partner over and over and over again can be just as frustrating. I mean, to look at, you know, the cost and investment for $500, you can actually heal all of those old subconscious patterns. Because even if you get out of a relationship without dealing with that inner wounding, okay, the next person you get involved with is going to have the same shit. They're just going to have a different hair color, different color eyes, same shit.
Yes.
So even leaving a relationship isn't the actual solution. Now let's talk about this, because we got a lot of questions from women about, like, even this one, how do I handle and cope by being left by my husband? You know, he wanted a separation. How do you know when it's time to actually get divorced and throw in the towel? I'm talking about this a lot. People, everywhere we look, people are saying, "I'm throwing the towel," you know? When's it time to call it quits? How do you know? How do you know if, you know, there's a possibility? Or how do you know maybe you're in a relationship with a narcissist that's never going to change? How do you know if it's time to run or time to freaking heal and deal? Mm-hmm. When is it time to leave and call it quits, or when is it time to heal and deal?
Yeah. When is it time to call it quits? So you have a couple, they're fighting, it's constant, it just goes on and on and on and on. And what do people do? One of the things they do is they continue talking about everything that's bothering them, right? Over and over and over. This is bothering me, this is bothering me, that's bothering me. And they keep saying what's going on with them. What's another thing people do? They talk to their friends, they talk to their family, and they complain and they talk about their struggles. And they actually are probably not getting their needs met in those relationships, because those people are doing what everybody does. Everybody's got an opinion about relationships, and they're not accurate.
And they're not accurate. And this will also help mothers and daughter relationships, because I've heard you on the phone with mothers and daughters, mothers and sons. Yeah. And even if, another great question here, and we're getting to this, we're kind of chewing on this big topic of how do you know when it's time to leave and call it quits? Yeah. This course will absolutely help you if you're just the one doing the work. Yeah. Okay. Yes, it will. Because the law is, if you show up differently, and if we're all one, you show up differently, that reflection has to change.
Yeah, if we're fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, and I say, I just want to be closer to you, and I don't know how.
So what couples are actually doing all day long is distancing, is soothing and shielding mechanisms, okay, that push and try and protect and keep away. But really what we want is to connect closer. We just don't know how.
We don't know how.
We've never been taught. Doesn't mean you're bad, doesn't mean you're wrong, doesn't mean you're doomed. It means it's an opportunity to learn. This will change your fucking life, man. Not just, oh, my marriage. It's like everywhere, on all level, all at once. It is profound.
Yes. And I wanted to make a quick correction here. Somebody just texted me. That's why I was looking at my phone. Somebody said, Take Your Power Back Now worked as the coupon, and somebody said, Take Your Power worked.
Oh.
So sorry, Take Your Power Back worked, and someone else said Take Your Power Back Now worked. Try both of those, no spaces.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's get back to, how do you know if it's time to call it quits?
How do you know? Okay. So there's this thing that gets used a lot in my work called vulnerability. Now, let's define vulnerability just for a moment. If you technically look it up, it means placing yourself in danger. Who the hell wants to do that? So I teach people for a short moment how to place themselves in vulnerability. It's scary, it's confusing, we don't want to do it at first, but if you become vulnerable and stop, you then get to see how the other person comes to meet you there. And then maybe they're not open and vulnerable in the ways I described. If they're not, what do you do next? Well, you could fight or call all your friends and try to get relationship advice because of this idiot that's sitting next to you. Or you could just be a little more vulnerable about how it hurt that the other person didn't meet you there.
In the present moment.
Right now.
It's happening now.
Yes. And then you watch and you watch and you watch to see if they come forward. And the key moment is, I don't know how many times you're going to do this, maybe 5, maybe 7. 7's quite generous. If you keep doing this over and over and over, and the person's defensive, and the person won't get help and see a couples counselor or come talk to me, if the person is not willing, just the fact that you've done these 5, 6, 7 times of being vulnerable, you know what it does? It takes the crazy glue that's linked you to this other person in the problem, and it clears it all away. You're no longer glued to the fight. And that is your work to do. That's how you determine if you're going to call it quits. You unwind yourself from the problem, and the only way I've ever seen this in 3 decades of work is to be vulnerable, really vulnerable, and see if the other person meets you there. And if they don't, you have a very large problem on your hands, but you don't have the same kind of problem where you're confused and you're wrapped in the argument and you want to show them how their childhood makes them the way they are and all their character defects. And if they would just understand what you were meaning, they would get it and then they would love you. No, they won't. They won't ever love you if you point out how their mother was mean to them and how they're taking that out on you. You might be accurate with all that information and it won't help a bit. So I want to teach you how to separate and unwind yourself from that entire problem.
And that gives you some information.
Yeah.
And there's a few things that I want to talk about with that.
Okay. Yeah, I bet. Oh, we're in real time here.
Yeah, there's some really great points about
all our relationships right now we're like working on. Yeah.
Doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
Seeing people come back together.
No.
Holding that space, not, you know, and I've watched him do this with my husband and I, and I'm like, are you on my side or are you on his side? You know what I mean? Like really untrusting of this.
I'm on the couple's side.
Yeah, it's pretty, pretty interesting. The vulnerability is really the gateway. And so learning those, because it's scary, learning those skills to go there and to open that up. Oh, and this was the point.
Yeah.
You could have 20 years, and you often work with couples who've been married for 30 freaking years, okay?
Yeah.
Cheating involved, betrayal, you name it.
All the big ones.
Okay. And the most profound thing that I can attest to is that in a handful of those vulnerable moments when the couple breaks that pattern and the vulnerability happens and they come to each other and meet there, which is real intimacy and connection, which is what the couple's been craving so fucking much, which is why they go berserk and go do this weird shit.
Yeah.
Only a handful of those repairs is all that is necessary.
Yeah.
Even after 20 or 30 years. And you're going to see, if you go to Derek Hart on Facebook, you're going to see a lot of videos. You know, he records, he's, you know, amazingly, the couples that he's worked with have allowed him to record a lot of, it's fascinating to watch. You've never seen anything like this. Like, it's fascinating. But the fact that you can transform a lifetime of pain in a few interactions when things are slowed down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And care is reciprocated. Yeah. That's when you know it's time to heal and deal. Yeah. Versus hit the road jack and throw in the towel.
Yeah, yeah. And real care, not nice. I am not teaching couples, hey, if you would just be nicer to your partner, things would be great. That's not what we're talking about here. How do you do inception? How do you plant in the other person that you actually care, and how do they plant that they care about you? That takes me holding the pain they've been in over here while they get it out, and then I show them what they've both been going through that they had no idea. Couples usually often say something like, I had no idea you cared about how I was hurting that way. I had no idea. I thought you hated me. And the other person is over there crying about the pain of thinking their partner thinks they hate them.
So let's talk about accountability
Okay.
and how this ties into boundaries and standards. Standards, you're looking at the fucking standards queen, okay, with my sharp sword. And standards aren't necessary and required, because you will not get anything until you require it, period. And that is a self-love form of action. So accountability, though. What about accountability? This is a great question popping up here. And what Derek is saying is that what you're saying, I'm tracking it, man. Trust me, I'm tracking it.
Oh my God.
Give me a moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
The pushing and the fighting and the arguing is actually, please connect with me. Please connect with me. I'm hurt that you didn't connect with me. It didn't happen the way I needed it to. I know you're trying your best, but you failed fucking miserably with that one.
Yeah.
Try it again.
Yeah.
It's so hard in that moment when people are so spun off in their own wounding to be able to say those things.
Yeah. 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 I'm going to force you to know the exact way you've hurt me. And I'm being vulnerable, God damn it. And I'm telling you what I need. And I'm telling you exactly. And I'm being authentic and real. So you better love me, God damn it. And we think that's going to bring them to us with a tender heart.
And talk to us about this. That's exactly not how to get a tender heart to open up and connect. It's the only thing we might know how to do in that moment. There's new tools we can learn.
Yeah.
And this idea also that we need you to do this and change your behavior. That's the accountability piece. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
Been the queen of that one too. Which is not vulnerability.
It's not.
And it doesn't fucking work.
No.
But what does work in that moment is, here's the script. Let's talk about these 3 simple scripts that will bring more intimacy, connection than you ever thought possible.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm afraid of this. I'm going to say that's one of mine. Yeah. You know, shifting from blow up, explode mode. I'm living in a story in my head about the future or the past, not in the present.
Yeah.
And instead of me behaving and acting from that story,
yeah,
I'm present now and I'm being vulnerable enough to say, hey, guess what, honey? I had the fucking craziest thought. I'm so afraid of this.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that this is going to happen and that's going to happen and it's going to be like this and blah, 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 blah. That's real vulnerability.
Yeah.
That gives the other person the opportunity to say, holy shit, that is a scary fucking thought.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm afraid that I have this thing that I need you to understand and you're never going to understand it. And I'm always going to be fighting and fighting and fighting for you to understand it. And I have no way to get this across to you. And I'm just so afraid that we're not going to solve this problem ever because I'm mean when I tell it to you and you're defensive when you hear it. And we're in hell together. Help. I need help from you.
So that's my marriage right there. That's what it is. I'm going to be honest with you. Those are the patterns. That's the cycle. Yeah. That's exactly the message.
Yeah.
And it requires radical honesty. I always talk about this, with our clients. Yes, we teach women how to own their story, share their gift and their purpose in the world, create a portable, profitable online coaching business. We work with healers, coaches, consultants, mentors, spiritual guides. We work with all of these amazing women. Yes, we teach you radical Facebook ads and ninja marketing and how to sell and owning your value and 30-day video challenges and the 10K in 30 day and how to make money and how to set up a sales attraction system. We teach you all that cool shit. Okay. We've been doing this for 10 years. We're really good at what we do. We've worked with hundreds and hundreds of women in our programs in the last 10 years. And I'm going to tie it back here.
Yeah.
I am going to tie it back here. None of that can happen without first doing the inner work.
Yeah.
And we talk about radical honesty, radical responsibility, and radical self-love. So I have my own 3 things that I, to look at the gremlins or the ideas that go on inside your mind, your thoughts, your concepts of yourself that have to be changed before you can show up in the world and behave in a different way and do the video and do the Facebook ad and, make the offer and get on the sales call. And all that inner work has to happen first.
Yeah.
And walking people through this radical honesty, step 1, which I can equate to what we just did here in relationship, being radically honest about what you're afraid of in the present moment and risking to share that truth with love, risking to be vulnerable is really the gateway. And then there's radical responsibility. Yeah, I didn't think I thought about that again. You're right. I went back in the past. Yeah. Sorry. The
path. So when we're hurt about something, we're hurt about the past and we're fearful of the future. We don't know how to solve that because we don't quite know how to talk about it. And people are usually fighting about, I don't want to talk about the past anymore, or I don't want to worry about the future like you're always worried about. What's actually happening is you actually are experiencing something right now. If you're hurting about the past, you're hurting right now about the past. So it's just a shift in how to talk about that, and then it'll go away, but we don't know how to do that. We fight and fight and fight. So that's what we're here to learn.
Yeah, it's really powerful inner work. So first script that we talked about is, I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid even right now in the present moment that here's what I'm really afraid about. That's script number 1. Would you say that? Because I just brought that up. I don't even know if that's when you breathe.
Yeah. Keep going.
Also questions about the programs. If you want to find out about our programs, go to takeyourpowerbacknow.com. You can find out all about our programs for coaches, consultants, and healers, the 10K and 30-day program, the Bikini Business Coach program. So script number 2.
Script number 2 is about how to go within and recognize that you've entered a pattern. So when I'm working with couples, one of the things I have to say very quickly to them is, hey, it might seem a little rude how much I interrupt you, but when I interrupt you, that means you've done just something extraordinary just now. You've just entered your argument right in front of me, okay? Couples start fighting in the first few syllables. Actually, often before that, in the first in-breath, I'll never forget, I had a couple say to me, I get mad when he breathes in because I know I'm going to get criticized. So I actually know how to detect that now. So the first step is me helping you just within yourself and in the couple connection, how to know the moment you've entered your argument. And it's when you're stepping into anything that's not sharing your struggle vulnerably.
Not sharing your struggle vulnerably. And this answers the question here that somebody has. Bethany's saying, what would you recommend as far as vulnerability goes in a relationship where the other party can't stand emotions? I'm afraid that if I put him into his emotions or keep acting on emotions, even in the form of vulnerability, I'll push him into something extremely uncomfortable with and push him away further. Mm-hmm. So this is really about creating safety. So let's put the conversation of the scripts over here and come to a greater umbrella of what vulnerability actually allows and what it's really creating, which is allowing both people to feel safe.
Yeah, let me answer that. I have some things going on, and I am really, really nervous that if I share them with you, that you're going to feel really uncomfortable. But I need to tell you, it is so beautiful to me when I say something that is deep and rich and meaningful, and then I see you respond with your feelings. So I don't know what to do here. It seems that you get uncomfortable with feelings, but I love them. That part of you is just golden to me and why I married you in the first place. So if you're scared to show those feelings, just know that I am too.
So that's an answer to that question, but also a part of the script, which is, it's okay. It's actually really cool, really good. When you come to a part of the conversation where you say, I'm afraid of this and I'm afraid of that, and then you even say, and I don't know what to do about it. Or I'm so angry right now, or I'm so hurt about this, or I'm so hurt about that, or I'm so sad or whatever, and I don't even know what to do with that feeling. I don't even know what to do with it, because that's true.
Yeah. I don't know what to do, and I'm scared. We're all scared. Fear is actually the deepest possible emotion. If I'm angry or confused or sad, there's a lot of things that we understand about that. But if I have fear, it's like we all know what to do if a lion enters the room, right? We don't have a discussion about whether or not we're going to exit. We know what to do, right? When we have fear. So at the bottom of every couple's argument is fear. So that's what we kind of chip away at. How do we get to really showing how human we are, how scared we are, and share that in a way that makes the other person go, oh, I'm scared too.
I'm scared too.
I had no idea you were.
Yeah. Now there's commonality.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose of this conversation, again, the vulnerability is to allow people to feel safe to share. If one person in the couple doesn't feel safe, they're not saying anything.
It's like right now, we're kind of really alive right now. Like we're excited about this topic, right? So it means, I believe, we haven't hurt each other. Like we're alive right now. I know we're talking to all of you out there, but if your partner is not coming alive and talking about their day, and you're criticizing them for being kind of shallow and not having feelings and being shut down, you know what? They're probably alive and talking with their friends, but not you.
Because it's not safe.
It's not safe. We want to give you the power to know what to do to make them want to talk your head off. And then you get to be vulnerable later and tell them to stop freaking talking so much. But that's the next thing.
So powerful. So powerful. So script number 1, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Script number 2 is
how to go within and see if you feel the pattern has started. Have we started arguing because of the first sentence invalidating one or the other?
So the script number 2 is actually validating or invalidating, which is to stop trying to make the person wrong for how they feel and shift into emotional facts are 100% real, valid 100% of the time, regardless of whether or not you think they should feel that way. That's how they feel, period. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry you feel like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make you wrong. What it does is it allows them to feel cared, relieved, safe. So that's script number 2.
And script number 3 is Sandy and Steve. What the heck is Sandy and Steve? Sandy and Steve come on screen with me, and they're a couple, and they've been fighting for 30 years, and they've had the same fight for the last 7 years. And what's the first question I ask Sandy? Actually, I flip a coin, and I decide Sandy's the first person I'm going to ask a question. I say, Sandy, tell me what's bothering Steve. Right? We start there. Tell me your curiosity about what's bothering your partner. And then after she says it, I'm going to ask Steve, did she get it right? How's she doing? And he's going to say, she got it kind of right. And it's the first time in 6 months that one person has actually inquired about what might be going on with the other person. So it's all about the other person. You cannot alter a fight by your needs and your authenticity and your nonviolent communication, I statements, saying your own feelings. You cannot do any of that and actually solve it. It doesn't work. Your inquiry into them, it might sound slightly indirect to get your needs met, but it is the only way. And a couple where both of you are doing this, super concerned about the other person's experience, they reconnect.
super concerned. I remember doing that with you.
Mm-hmm.
Did he get it right? Yeah, did you get it right? Did she get it right? Yeah, and this. Being concerned, feeling the other person is curious and cares about your experience.
Yeah.
So script number 1, I'm afraid. Script number 2 is
You're entering your pattern.
Entering your pattern and validating instead of invalidating. And script number 3 is
my vulnerability and saying it in a curious way about what you're hurting about.
So it sounds
all
like
comes together.
Let me hear if I understood.
Yeah.
Is the script. Let me see if I got it right.
Yes.
Is the script.
Yes. And if it's too painful, then it's like, I want to treat you like I just met you for the first time, and I might need to separate a little because it might be painful for me to hear that you're so pissed at me. That might be your main issue. You're pissed at me, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I need to research it because your emotional experience is 100% true all the time. And it makes me feel lots of pain, and that's something you'll learn about me. We have to hear each other's pain. We have to hear each other's struggle as the way in.
Derek, would you grab the freaking magnet off the fridge? I want to share with you guys the profound wisdom that we're sharing here with you. You can also get, is it on Pinterest or Etsy that you sell these? We put them on our fridge. It's like the relationship.
Yeah, you can go to understandeachother.com/magnets, and you can see a bunch of magnets.
Now, I love this picture because we took this at the Soul Sister Mastermind. So I've invited, Derek's work has been so profound in our relationship, my husband Alex and I, that, I quickly realized that it was something I wanted my clients to learn. And so Derek's, done work with us in our live masterminds, the Soul Sister masterminds that we have in Laguna Beach and in Hawaii. On our live Q&As, we have 4 live Q&As a week for our clients. We've done work with them online. We've done work about how to actually be a fucking ninja marketer, infusing vulnerability and engagement in your social media posts, my friends. Yeah. It is like next level business empathy. This is actually the only thing that's going to separate you from the noise of all of the other people out there calling themselves coaches in the crowded marketplace. How are you going to stand out? By caring about people.
No. I helped do that, huh?
Yeah, a lot.
Damn.
Okay. So again, people are asking me the name of Derek's site to get the $5,000 program at $500 for the next 48 hours with the coupon code, Take Your Power Back or Take Your Power Back Now. The website is understandeachother.com. And when you go there, there's one button, use the coupon code, Take Your Power Back or Take Your Power Back Now. And you will get the discount. You'll get the Facebook group for a year. You'll get 7 digital courses on the inside of the membership site. Some of them are relationship mastery, love yourself course.
Actual couples sessions where you see 5 to 7 minutes at a time where I'm kind of talking over it and giving insight into what they're really going through. It's pretty fun.
And you can pick up these cool magnets. Okay, this is what they look like here. The Relationship Repair Guide. Okay, and it's got his website at the top, which I think this is on our fridge. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Couples will argue it's okay. It means you're engaged with each other and want to connect. There are 2 things couples don't do that fuel them into arguments. Couples don't recognize that an argument happened and that repair is necessary. Yeah. And I've learned this. You can repair just about anything. Okay. If people are willing. Couples don't know what to do after. Also true. Sit with each other, make eye contact, say these phrases to each other, go slow, breathe. There are no rules. That's another thing about marriage, eh? Shit, everyone's like, who gives a fuck what you do and what works for you in your marriage? It's what works for you in your marriage. Yeah. Other people aren't in your marriage. Okay. Yeah. We have an unconventional marriage. I run a women's empowerment company. My husband has 3 children. We have a blended family. It's a fucking circus. Okay. It's a fucking circus. Welcome to my life. Okay. What works for us is not going to work for people that don't have the circumstances of the past that we have, period.
There are no rules. The only thing that matters is if what I've just said bothers you. And that's always true if what I've said bothers you.
Yeah.
And how to unwind out of that is what this repair guide will help with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about this, and then I want to talk about abuse, because we're getting some questions about what do I do if I'm in an abusive relationship, or criticism or verbal abuse. So we're going to address this, because we know that in COVID-19 right now, that's why we're doing this very important interview, because suicide rates are fucking going through the roof.
Yeah.
People are locked into freaking social distancing, locked into their houses with their abusers.
Domestic violence calls are somewhere between 2 and 3 times the amount right now. So it's real.
No, it's very real. And we want to help that. We want to heal that. And we can do it with the right tools, because hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Hurt people hurt people. And it doesn't mean that the karma that creates doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Even if they're unaware that they're doing it. And there are tools to repair. Yeah. And we can show you how to do that. Yeah. So, big deep breath. Sit with each other, make eye contact. Say these phrases to each other, go slow, breathe. There are no rules. Feel each other's tenderness. This is how vulnerability works. It's a great reminder, man. The correct statement will make one or both of you cry, laugh, or reach out for connection. Like somebody here mentioned, is it okay if I do this program and the other person, my partner, doesn't want to do the course with me? Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. That reflection will have to change. You're always one statement away from opening up to each other again. So this is how you make up. So we have like 3 columns, okay? You guys can see that. It's really cool. It's like, it's perfect, man. It's like 3 little columns, okay? I love that you have this. So I felt afraid and I didn't know what to say next.
There's just nothing I can do but go, oh, I can't now fight you. You've disarmed me, right? That's the point.
Because I'm talking about my feelings. I'm not saying you.
And you're taking responsibility for showing that you're imperfect and flawed and have fear. Vulnerability, it's just safe. Like I do.
Yeah.
Makes me go, oh, me too.
I felt defensive and acted that way.
Mm-hmm. Same thing.
I'm not just sorry. I'm not just sorry, but I will do better next time.
Total responsibility for, I messed up, I hurt you, I've probably done it before, I've learned something, next time I'm not going to do it again, I'm sorry. That's all people need to hear. I don't care if you're fighting about what you want to get for dinner or a betrayal. That statement changes the game. Yeah.
Somebody says, you must be selling like crazy. The server isn't responding. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I think we blew the server. Listen, everyone, we're working on a course. We're working on another course together here. We're going to be shooting some of the videos, probably facing that that view, or maybe in the kitchen, who knows, more wisdom in the kitchen. But this is really important. This is the real deal right here. It will change everything for you. Learning how to relate differently. So I'm going to keep reading this, if that's okay.
Yeah.
While you take a look there. I felt unattractive to you and not desired. I felt overwhelmed with my feelings. Again, a radical responsibility. I felt I didn't have any choices, and I feel statements. Mm-hmm. It's not, you're doing this and you're doing that. That's a really big shift to like, whoa, let me bring it back to me. And risk sharing my truth about how I feel. Even though I run away, what I really want is to connect with you. I mean, how cool would it be to have one of these in your fridge? Trust me, you're going to use it all day long. Okay. I felt angry and was loud with my voice and may have scared you. Totally guilty about that. I felt criticized by you. I think maybe I do not. I felt criticized by you. I think maybe I do that to you also. So there's a reflection. I criticize you. I've done it before and I'll be careful about that. My feelings can easily get hurt and I attack instead of saying that. For sure. That's for sure true. And I never want to admit that my feelings get easily hurt. No, I'm like a warrior. Not true. I'm a freaking tender heart, man.
Vulnerability. 30 seconds. Fighting takes hours, minutes, weeks, years, months, and intimacy and vulnerability takes 30 seconds. Just learn how to do that.
Yeah. And vulnerability takes 30 seconds. Diffuse anything.
Yeah. I love when I get the question from men. Men will be sitting with me and, I don't want to be vulnerable all the time. I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to talk about feelings. I don't want to do this. You know what, man? You've been talking about feelings for 8 hours every night, fighting all night. I'm talking about 30 seconds at a time, which makes you have
more sex.
You have more sex, and you have those 8 hours to do something other than fighting. You've been talking about feelings the whole time. We need to get you to stop talking about feelings all the time
and start caring about the other person's experience.
Yeah. Nobody's vulnerable all the time. You do it for a minute where you're both like really feeling each other's hearts. That's enough. Nobody needs to do that again for a day or two. That rebonds you.
Yeah, most fights are happening about not being listened to, not feeling cared for. Yeah. Not the actual emotion of it. I was too focused on being right and didn't listen to you.
Yeah.
That's a good one to just get rid of the defensiveness. Star on that one.
Yeah.
For my husband.
Yeah.
Star on that one. I felt powerless. I felt sad. I felt worried. I want to love you better. I didn't feel understood. It felt unfair. I have no idea what I'm feeling, but I'm glad we're talking. I was sarcastic towards you, and I've done this before. Won't happen again. I'm sorry. I didn't do well attempting to understand you. I didn't do well attempting to understand you. Shit, man. It's good shit right here, folks. And you can have this. You've got a whole bunch of these.
Yeah, there's 11 magnets. That's the real big seller. The other one is soften your partner repair guide. It's just one statement makes them soften, and that's what you want.
Don't you wish they give you this in school?
Yeah.
They don't teach you how to apply for a mortgage. They don't teach you how to cook. They don't teach you how to relate and communicate in school.
Yeah.
They teach you how to memorize and regurgitate information from freaking textbooks from 30 fucking years ago about wars that happened that aren't fucking important.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really grateful for you in our lives for so many reasons, and for today, for sharing. Yeah. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you for tuning in. Please share this. We're going to send out the replay. We're going to send it out by email. This will be on YouTube as a replay. Please do share this with someone that you know that needs this. Yeah. Maybe just this training. Highly recommend you check out Derek's program. Again, like we said, it's a $5,000 program that he's graciously agreed to have a massive discount for you at this time during COVID-19 because of the statistics blowing through the roof, because we want to help more people. I'm so grateful to be a part of this as well. Understandeachother.com is the website. When you click the button, put in the coupon code, take your power back, or take your power back now. You'll get 7 online digital courses. One of them is about texting.
Yeah. How to text and know what the responses mean. They mean a tremendous amount. In that group, you will see women that have continuously done 90 to 120 day relationships, back to back to back for 2 to 5 years. We get them to stop. We get them to know within 7 to 10 days if they have an emotionally available man, and then how not to put their heart too much into it. We interrupt that pattern, and several of these women go on to finally pick someone who's available and get married. That is the goal for some of them.
And so this program is going to work for you if you're single, if you're married, if you're divorced, if you're thinking about a divorce, could save your freaking marriage, even after 20, 30 years of betrayal and heartache and pain. Okay.
And to know when to leave.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, because we want to talk about abuse.
Yep.
Okay. So thanks for the reminder. We talked a little bit about it, and we've talked a lot about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Outside of this conversation, all day long, do we do a program about how to tell if you're with a narcissist and how to leave? Right. You know, should we start with a program of dating for women? Should we start about how to save your marriage? Right. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, abuse. So when I write articles about abuse, what I very quickly get asked is, well, what do you want me to be vulnerable? I'm already vulnerable and I'm getting my ass kicked, all the time. So there's a certain part where we might learn about vulnerability in relation to abuse, but it is more within. I'm not telling you to go vulnerable 5, 6, 7 times, go deeper and deeper and deeper while the other person is just punching you in the face emotionally, or hopefully not physically, but that's happening too. The point is actually to slow down and observe. And this is where you might do one-on-one individual work to find some self-care and some self-love, because the problem is not that he's abusing you. The problem will come up if you look in the mirror and you need to ask yourself, why am I choosing this? Why am I in a pattern of choosing this person that is hurting me? Okay. Now, one of the things you might do is, like I talked about, advice from friends, learning about what you should do. Your friends will tell you to get out. He's abusing you.
They want to protect you.
You know what they're doing? They're bonding you with him further because you're not ready to get out and you're still protesting to get him to change to love you properly. That whole process needs to be broken apart. Advice from your friends doesn't help. So it's a slight different twist on slowing down, looking at what's actually happening, and getting the support properly that what's happening is really happening. Those little mild sarcasms that you used to think were clever and cute are actually mean and nasty. They're not okay. And that's where you need to slow down and ask yourself, wow, that statement that just happened, does that really feel bad? And the answer is yes, it hurt, even though it was just a little sarcasm. So abuse is subtle. Constant sarcasm coming at you is abuse. It doesn't work. Nobody's connecting and being real. And we start there. And we need to get you out of that. So it's not about some deep vulnerability and getting the man to open up to you and share his feelings. If he has crossed a certain line of frustration in his world, he's not going to do it. But you might start there. You might start with a couple vulnerable statements. You might start with this magnet. And you don't have to show him the magnet because he's going to say, who the hell is that guy? But you might take 3 of these statements and just say them to him randomly. All you need to do is see what he does next and pay attention to yourself. And then say what's going on with yourself in my group and say, this happened. What do you think? What should I do next?
Oh, there's so much interaction in that group. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, if you can get in there. Big Boro steal, $500 is a steal. Yeah. If you can't afford that, pick up one of the magnets. Yeah. What are they, like 20 bucks?
That's 10.
$10. Okay, $10 save a marriage. Or at least start working on it. And then you also have just a shit ton of videos on your Facebook. Yeah. On your personal Facebook, yeah. Derek Hart.
Yeah. Just look up my name, Derek Hart. Yeah. DEREKHART. Find me personally. And then there's the women's group. And actually in the women's group, it's called Relationship Mastery. And you will actually see 45 to 60 minute sessions where I work with couples.
A lot of videos in there.
This is going to expand further. And especially the narcissistic sociopath abuse topic, for you to recognize that and get out quickly. That's going to wind up in there a lot more too. That's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah.
We want to pull women out of those relationships. We also want to pull men out of those relationships, but this is one thing we're talking about today is just the women's group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also looking at, karma and repair and hurt people. And even if you're in a relationship that might seem totally impossible.
Yes.
Okay. I think these tools of communication and vulnerability really bring a lot of unconsciousness to light. Yeah. And that is what we are doing right now on a global scale during, thank you, COVID-19, for the silver lining, for the gold in this time of unification, ending separation, coming together, pause, the time and space to actually do this. Yes. When we're not distracted with driving around and working and having to do, it's having to be.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Derek.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, love leaders, for tuning in. Again, my name is Vanessa Simpkins from TakeYourPowerBackNow.com. Every week, every Thursday, we have this incredible conversation in the safe space. Love Leaders Unite for some wisdom in the kitchen. The intention is to always share what is relevant, real tips and tools to help you become a greater vessel for love expressing itself on the planet for healing. And the world needs you more than ever. So please do share this video if you found it useful. Please do check out Derek's work, and please come back again next Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific. We will have this space, a different conversation every single week. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all of these questions. I think I might address them in an email. There's so many, there's pages of questions here, and we'll see you guys real soon.
Yeah, and if the servers are having a problem, just email me, Derek, D-E-R-E-K, @understandeachother.com, and say, I wanted the big massive discount. Where is it? Help. And I'll get right back to you.
Hold on, I'll put that here in the little chat. D-E-R-E-K at
understandeachother.com.
Might have fried the servers. We've had hundreds of people on here live. Understand, that's a good problem. Other.
It's working. Somebody said it's working.
Oh, okay, good.
Hey, I want to ask, is it Take Your Power Back or Take Your Power Back Now? Which worked? I'm very curious if the person can quickly.
Oh, it's all working now.
It was all.
Yes, and I will email a recording of
Take Your Power Back. Okay, Take Your Power Back with no spaces, I believe. Take Your Power Back works. Okay.
All lowercase. Yes, and we will email out a replay for the next 48 hours. We have this generous special. So thank you, Derek. Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah. Last thing, when you sign up, it'll immediately take you to a video where I explain things. Notice there'll be very simply 2 links at the top of the video. One takes you to the start of your course right away. The other link, if you click it, takes you right to the Facebook group in another tab. So it's all right there. Just go to the Facebook group, request it, and your video should still be playing. It's 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm explaining the whole course to you. Very easy.
All right, lovers.
Yes.
I'm excited for you. Thank you again.
Yes.
Thank you guys for tuning into this amazing, what divine synchronicity brought you to watch this video today.
Yeah.
Grateful for that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you real soon. Thank you, and have an amazing day. Bye, lovers.
Bye-bye.